What's up, guys? Here to talk to you about Green Arrow number 45. And I'm back home, back from off vacation. So, got me a nice beard, got a lot of sand everywhere. It was great. So, anyways, I'm going to be real careful with this because I got a really nice tinfoil cover. Even the back is foil. It's really sweet. So I'm just going to be real careful with this cover. Beautiful cover. I really like that. Anyways, so I really enjoy this issue. I got home, went to the store, picked it up from Brandon, and then I got home, and after a little while I read it, and I was like, I've got to do a video on this. So here I am. This is a Heroes in Crisis tie-in. First of many, I assume. And it's pretty much all a wedding. Not a wedding, sorry. Funeral, that other one. Sorry about that, guys. It's a funeral for Roy Harper. And I had one critique, and I'll do that first because everything else is really good. Some of the artwork isn't great. And it's only in the parts where they're all together. Because this barely looks like Oliver Queen. Like, if it weren't for the goatee, I wouldn't know who that was. And this is, I mean, how are you supposed to know that that's Dinah? Doesn't look like anything like her. The real problem is you can kind of pick out who is Clark Kent because he's got the glasses. But if he didn't have glasses, I wouldn't know who that is. But my question is that Donna Troy? Or is that Donna Troy? I'm guessing that's Donna Troy because I think that's supposed to be Wonder Woman. And I'm assuming Diana would stand closer to Superman. But I just don't know. And is this Dick Grayson? Why isn't he near Donna Troy? Is that supposed to be Barbara Gordon? I don't know. Because these people don't look anything like any of the other people. I don't mean to be rude, but just the artwork is not great in this. Parts of it is okay. Parts of it. You know, I kind of like the more abstract look to this. I don't mind that. But that's kind of more of a like he's looking into his past. But during the present, like, they should be like, this is a lot better. That's obviously, you know, Clark. That's obviously Ollie. You can tell. It's on the same page too. But I don't know who this is. Is that supposed to be Diana? I don't know. Her face doesn't look fleshed out at all. It looks very flat. I'm not one to really pick on art because I'm not an artist. Like, it requires an amazing skill that I don't have. So, you know, I don't mean to criticize. Hey, I mean, I'm glad that you're able to do some of this. This looks good. This page is fun, I think. As a someone who's unable to draw, you know, I don't mind some of the more basic things. I don't like when the faces are wrong. That's the one that gets me. I don't have to have it so perfect that it's that they do what they do in the Star Wars run in Marvel, which is like cut pictures of like a young Harrison Ford and paste it into the photo. I hate that. I hate it. And like, just draw something similar to the face, and I'll be like, okay, that's Han Solo. Sorry, excuse me. You know, I've read old Dark Horse comic books, and the people look very nothing like them. But it's good artwork, and you can kind of tell who it is. Like, it's a little more difficult, I know, to get like Oliver Queen's not a real person. Never has been, never will be. It's a person who was created in the comic books, and so like to get somebody to where that's not like alien, that doesn't have like distinguishing features, to always look the same. It's impossible. So I understand, like, but I want the faces to be somewhat similar. Like, look at some of the older artwork so you know who it is, and then draw it, like mimic that. I don't want it to be like perfectly mimicked, but just like the face to look similar, if that makes sense. It's a long rant. This book deserves a lot more than that, so that's the end of that. I don't like some of the faces. I haven't liked some of the Superman faces of the Bendis run right now. Sometimes his face looks okay, sometimes it doesn't. It was really good during the Tomasi Gleason run, but the faces is what really gets me. And I understand faces are probably difficult for artists, whatever. Some of these are real good though. Like, you can kind of tell. Like, that's definitely Hal Jordan. That's definitely Oliver Queen. You can just tell just by their faces. I mean, it doesn't even have to be perfect, but they've got some dimension to it. They've got some shadows in the eyes. You can see where their nose picks out, but even here, you can kind of tell. Okay, that looks a lot like Oliver Queen that we're used to. This still doesn't look like Dinah, but whatever. But back here, it's really at the very beginning. Like this right here. I showed it maybe a minute ago. That I don't know who that's supposed to be. There's no dimension. There's nothing. It's just a flat face. There's no dimensions, no shadows like you'd see in the eyes. Nothing. And yeah, it's super weird. It's super weird. And I'm guessing it's Dinah. Like, I'm guessing this is Cyborg here, I guess, since he's the only black guy there. But he doesn't have his cyborg stuff. Like, that's the thing about Cyborg, is he's a cyborg. When you look at him, you know who he is. He can't hide. He's like the Thing, really, which is one thing that makes his character compelling. So I hate that they've made it so that he can look normal. Like, why wouldn't he just look normal all the time? That if he could. Anyways, okay. I said I was done, and then I kept going. Sorry about that. On to the review. Okay, so I really enjoyed this. The only thing, they act like it's kind of a shock to Oliver that he needs to look into himself for some of his own problems, for some of his own mistakes. And I'm like, well, Oliver has always blamed himself. And I think that's kind of the reason he's never, like, the way I see it, Speedy blamed Arrow for his for not being the right kind of mentor, and Green Arrow took it out on Speedy when he first found out that Roy was Oliver took it out on Roy when he found out that he was doing drugs. But in an ultimate sense, I think that Oliver would have blamed himself, because that's who Oliver is. He always blames himself for everything. It's always his fault, which is another reason I don't care for the Arrowverse, because he never blames himself. He always blames everybody else. But that's not really Oliver. Oliver's a family man, and even when he's yelling at you, blaming you, he's really blaming himself. So in this, he's blaming Clark Kent. He's blaming the Justice League. He's blaming everybody else for Roy Harper's death. But then in the end, he realizes it's his fault, because he hadn't kept up with Roy. And of course, it's not his fault, but he thinks it's his fault, because that's his default position, is, oh, I've done something wrong. And he takes that very personally, because he wants to do right by people. And I love that about the character, because he always wants to do right by all people, even the bad guys. And so I really, really love that, especially his family, especially his friends. I do think so basically what happens, he flips out on the Justice League people, even though he's a Justice League member. Anyways, um, the Justice League isn't just a roster of 7, it's unlimited. It's got all the heroes, mostly. Anyways, um, he, uh, he flips out on them out of his sorrow, out of his grief and anger for Roy's death. And of course, I love that he punches Clark. He's like, "I'm gonna keep doing this until like every bone in my body is broken." And I was like, "Oh, it's such a Oliver Queen thing to say." Wonderful. And so, yeah. Anyway, so Oliver, blames him, and then right before he's like, "I'm about to take out the Justice League," because they gave me the box and the key to destroying the Justice League, Martian Manhunter pulls him out and it's like, "Hey," he basically slaps some sense into Oliver, and then Oliver calms down. I'm surprised that Dinah didn't slap some sense into him, because I can understand Clark and Diana staying out of it. Clark's just gonna let him hit him because that's who Clark is. Diana is gonna get in between them, which is what she did. I'm assuming that's her because I can't really tell because of the artwork. But Dinah, she's not like that. She's gonna get in there and she's gonna knock his socks out. Be like, "You're blaming the wrong people, fool," because she has never taken his mess at all, and vice versa. Like, that's what I love about the couple. They don't take each other's mess, and but maybe it's just because she's too grief stricken because of Roy's death to do that. But anyways, so this is a long video. I love Green Arrow, so I'm gonna talk. I'm long-winded about this. Really enjoyed this. So it really felt real. He meets this girl named Annie, and she's supposedly somebody that Roy Harper helped. And I really love that touch. That was really good. So let's see who's the authors. They said it here. Julie and Shauna Benson. Beautiful. Great job. I applaud you. You did excellent. Having her like reveal that Roy Harper isn't always a bad person. I liked his brother's speech, although I wish it was a little shorter. It didn't really deserve the full page, but whatever. Donna Troy was great. Where was Nightwing? Like, why wasn't he in there? And I was like, wait a minute, where's Wally? And I was like, oh yeah, Wally's dead. Dumb choice. Ugh. I'm guessing we'll have a crossover in the Flash soon. But anyways, so it would have meant a lot for Dick to say something, because Dick and Roy have been friends since the beginning. Dick, Wally, and Roy and Donna were always real close, and then Tempest as well. So I'm just like, where were these fools? Like, they should have been there too. Dick definitely should have been. It would have made more sense for Dick to speak than his estranged brother. That, whatever, I don't care if he's by blood. He's not really the brother. Dick Grayson and Wally West are his real brothers, and that's just that. So should have been him that spoke. But whatever. Anyways, so one funny thing. So he's always having this heart-to-heart with Annie, and she's telling him about how much he was a superhero, and it's real touching because Ollie's being taught by this girl who Roy helped, so he's really learning from the girl who was saved by his basic son. And then she's like, if you ask me, he was practically a superhero. And then Ollie was like, yeah, he was. And then she says, it's time to say goodbye, I guess. And the very next page you see, boom! I was like, It's an advertisement for the witching hour. I was like, that might be a bad place to put that. Like right after this girl's about to say something, and it almost feels like maybe there's something more to this character, and then boom, like you see this giant page where this lady busts out. Uh, I died laughing when I saw that. I don't know, it has something to do with Justice League Dark. Oh, it was too good, too good. I was like, whoa, oh, never mind. I was like, oh, she's saying goodbye. anyways, so Ollie walks off into the sunset by himself. He should have had Dino with him. Whatever. And we see some like cool flashbacks of the two of them, Roy and Ollie, working together, and just some really great moments in here. We see Hal and Ollie work together. We see all these great things. We see a picture of the Titans. Let me see. That's a great picture. I'd love to see that. I'm glad that Martian Manhunter showed up. He would have been at the funeral, I think. Just my thoughts. Man, I know that's in here. This is taking too long, I know. We do have a Donna Troy, Roy Harper team up. That's really cool. I've never really digged the Roy Harper kind of as a like a redneck hippie kind of thing. Never really cared for that myself. I don't mind the hat and all, but oh, it's on the front page. Duh. It's really cool. Got the team right there. So that's pretty sweet. I feel like they're missing somebody there. Oh wait, they're missing Raven, Beast Boy, Cyborg, and Starfire. Oh well, because he did show up a few times with them too, so they should have been at the funeral too. Like, I feel like at a funeral everybody's gonna be there. Anyways, really enjoyed the issue. The only complaint I had was the art. Other than, oh, I was gonna say I don't know that. One thing I've always liked about Ollie is that he blames himself for everything. He tries to hold on to too much blame, and that kind of causes him to do crazy things, which make really interesting stories. And I say that Oliver and Batman have a lot of differences, and I do a lot of talking about how they're different because I think they're very different characters, or at least they are now. They may not have been, back in the 50s, 60s, but now they're very different. Because originally he was just Robin Hood meets Batman, and that's it. And they were both kind of goofy, but and they did a lot of team up and stuff. But eventually, I think, especially thanks to Mike Grell in the 80s, but maybe even some of the 70s work, 60s work, he really started to become his own character. And I think that's really great. I'm really thankful for that. But some of the differences is that Oliver grabs everybody close and tries to be very much of a family guy with them. And Batman, he pulls together a family, but he always tries to be a loner. I was watching this video that talked about how Batman wasn't actually a loner, which is why he has this big family. But I think what it is that he doesn't. Everyone he pulls to him, he knows that they need him, and so he's going to be there for them because they need him. It's kind of his whole thing in Gotham. He's in Gotham because they need him, because he feels that they need him, and so if Gotham didn't need him, he would retire. But since Gotham needs him, he stays there. And so the reason that he has the Robins, he has the Batgirls and everything, is because he feels that they need him. But what we see with Tim Drake is that Tim Drake realizes that Batman actually needs the Bat family. Because Nightwing had ran off, Jason Todd had been killed, and Batman was going down a really dark path. And so Tim Drake was like, oh, he needs to be saved. He needs to be... he needs a Robin to balance him out, to tie him to the world, because at that time even Alfred wasn't. So Batman, even though he has a family, he's really very much of a loner. He's always got Alfred, of course, but and Alfred is probably the closest thing he has to family. But you know, even though he has all these people, he keeps them at arm lengths a lot of the time, even his own son. And by son, I mean Tim Drake. Because he adopted Tim Drake. He didn't adopt. Tim Drake is the son he chose. Damian is the son that he was forced to have. So, anyways, side parts. But that's not Oliver. Oliver pulls together his family because he realizes he's stronger together. Batman knows that he's stronger with them, but he really brings them together because that he feels that they need him, at least to a certain point, and then he lets them go. And he has them formed because he knows in an ultimate sense that he needs them. But anyways, one of the things that they have in common, which is kind of the main thing, I know I'm rambling. One of the things that they have in common is that Batman and Ollie both blame themselves for everything that happens to their individual families. So when Jason Todd dies, Batman blames himself, and of course, because he's thrown out this teenage kid out into the wild against the Joker, and then the kid dies. Like, that's Batman's fault for letting him go out there. Oliver Queen, he blames himself for Roy Harper's decisions about getting on drugs, and it's not necessarily his fault, although it is his fault to an extent that he also let a teenager run out and play vigilante with him. So there's that aspect. But in ultimate sense, they blame themselves for things that aren't really their fault. It was ultimately Jason Todd's choice to go after the Joker by himself. It was ultimately Roy Harper's decision to have drugs, and both of them ended up pushing their mentors away, and there's nothing they could do about it. So it's not a failure on their part. If anything, it's a failure on their followers' part for not being as much like them. Now, given it's a two-way street, so they are at fault to some extent. But I like that Oliver, even though he's blaming everybody else, at the end, once he cools down, he's like, this is my fault. I've done this. He blames nobody but himself. The buck stops here. And I really think that's respectable. You know, even if he's wrong, because it's not his fault, it's whoever killed him's fault. There is a sense in which, you know, he has to, you know, live with. If he had called Roy and talked to him, maybe something could have changed. Who knows? Maybe if we had called DC and barged down the doors, they wouldn't have killed two of the greatest Titans members ever. So, we'll see. I heard a theory that the Green Lantern that's dead in Heroes in Crisis is Simon Baez. I wasn't very happy about that theory. And it looked like a Hawk person was dead. But we've got Hawkman and Hawkgirl, and they're both pretty active right now, so I don't know that either of them are dead. And there was definitely someone that was winged, so we'll see. Anyways, really great issue. I love the foil cover. It was really awesome. Great tie-in. I'm enjoying the story, even if I hate the plot itself that Roy dies. I really enjoyed the story overall. So let me know what you think, and I will catch you next time. Peace.